Hello guys, I am Harsh and I am making a new video on plant reproduction. This is my first video on biology. So let's begin. Plant reproduction is based on three things: pollination, fertilization, and formation of seeds. So first we will explain pollination, which is the first step. Pollination is the act of transferring pollen grains from the male anther of a flower to the female stigma. The goal of every living organism, including plants, is to create offspring, the next generation. One of the ways that plants can produce offspring is by making seeds. This means pollination is a process in which pollen grains are transferred from the male anther of any flower to the female stigma of any flower. So, pollination can be divided into two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination. Pollination that occurs within same flower is called self-pollination. Cross-pollination. Pollination that occurs between two different flowers of same species is called cross-pollination. Self-pollination is defined as the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower on the same plant or the flower of a plant of the same clone. Now we will study what are cross pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one plant is transferred to the stigma of the different plant is called cross pollination. Cross pollination also uses some pollinating agents for transferring pollen grains. Pollinating agents are animals such as insects, birds, and bats, waters, wind, and even plants themselves. When self-pollination occurs within a closed flower, pollination often occurs within a species. When pollination occurs between species, it can produce hybrids offspring. In nature and in plants, breeding work means pollinating agents are divided into five kinds: animals, insects, birds, waters, and winds. Now I will tell you some examples of insects. By insects, the flowers are dahlia, rose, and sunflower. By wind, there are wheat, maize, palm, and grasses. By water, there are vallisneria and hydrilla. So, these are the agents of pollination. Now pollination is completed. Let's come to fertilization. Fertilization, also known as generative fertilization, is the fusion of gametes to initiate the development of a more initiative organism. Fertilization means fertilization is a step between pollination and seed formation. The fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete is called fertilization. Fertilization leads to the formation of seed which later germinates into a new plant. Now I will briefly explain you the process of fertilization. First, pollen grains germinate on the stigma and pollen tubes develop. The pollen tubes grow downwards into the style. The pollen tubes are the carriers of male gametes. Pollen tube number 2 step, pollen tube carrying male gametes enters the ovule where egg cell is present. Finally, the male gamete fuses with the female gamete. This completes the process of fertilization. Now the last step is there, which is formation of seed. Formation of seed completes the process of reproduction in plants, which was started with the development of flowers and pollination, with the embryo developed from zygote and the seed coat from the immunants of the ovule. The new seed is formed in plastic structures called fruits. It means when the formation of seed is finished, the seed grows into a new fruit. Now I will tell you how what are the changes in a flower after fertilization. The flower loses its bright color, the sepals, petals and stamens fall off, the ovary increases in size and becomes a fruit, the ovary wall becomes the fruit wall, and inside the ovary the ovules developed into seeds. So this is the end of the video. Thank you.